The Danish Gambit is hands down one of the most aggressive openings that you can play. For one, your opponents won't know this line. Two, you're sacrificing two pawns while black is taking pawns. You're using the time to develop your pieces. Now you have these monster bishop. You're already in the middle game while black is still in the opening. I'll show you exactly how it works. So let's start learning the gambit first. So it's e4. The whole idea is to sacrifice pawns, forcing the opponent to be grabbing free pawns, and then we basically checkmate them with our development. Now, obviously, if we play the incorrect move, it's going to tell us that we're incorrect. So the move here is pawn to c3. So we play d4, they take a free pawn, we play c3, they take another pawn, and then we're going to use the time to just develop our pieces. Now look on this. Black is just taking free pawns, thinking, okay, I'm just doing fine here. I'm ahead by two pawns. But after we take the bishop, look at this development. It's crazy. Now, I'm learning this line. Again, if you play the incorrect move, it's telling you what to play as well. The knight develops, so it says e5. Let's kick away the knight. And then now this is a pin. Our pawn is fine though, so let's just break the pin. Now he has to move the knight and just have a look on our development versus black's development. It's crazy. He develops his knight, and now we just go knight d5. The queen is back in its home spot. The knight is back in its home spot. And then the first major trap of the Danish gambit comes in. Hopefully you were able to find it. But we hit them with knight to f6. Check. It doesn't really matter what they used to take. We're just going to take back with the pawn. And, this is just crazy. Like, we take with the pawn, he takes with the queen. And thanks to this bishop on b2, we're now just winning the rook. So that's the first trap of the Danish gambit. We learned the first line. I'm going to just finish learning all the lines, and then I'm going to demonstrate it in a few games against my subscribers. Okay, let's keep learning. So it's e4, d4. Remember, we do not bring the queen out early. So we sack this pawn. Now, once they're taking this pawn, use the time to develop the bishop. They take another pawn. We're not going to give them the rook. So now we're going to develop. Now, this time around, bishop to b4 was played. Now it's asking me what's the best move. So I have to find what the best move is. Now, I'm just going to go knight c3, just developing my knight. Queen to e7 was played, which means the e4 pawn is under some threat. But that's fine. The whole idea of this is to get your pieces more developed than the opponent. So let's go knight e2. And then the queen decided to take another pawn. My bishop is now under attack, but that's fine. How many pawns are we down by? Like three? He's hitting this pawn. We can't take due to the spin. He's attacking our bishop. But look on this. Queen to b3. Hit the bishop. Certain f7. They take on c3. We're just going to take back. And this is what you want. This is all you need from any opening that you play. You want to ensure that you get development. And especially because your opponents, they're not going to learn this line, we also unlock a new game mode from chess reps. Look at this. Knight f4 is coming, rook e1 is coming, rook d1 is coming. Like once you see me start playing the games against the subscribers, you'll see exactly what this is about. It's 15 lines. I'm going to learn all the lines. I'm probably going to be speeding up some of the video. But once I learn all the lines, then I'm going to be playing some games. But let's keep going. Let's continue learning. And then the more you learn it, it becomes easy. We know we play d4, we know we play c3, we know we develop the bishop, and we know we take here. So just from learning this line four times, it becomes automatic. Once the bishop checks, we usually always just block with the knight. Now he decides to develop his knight and attack our pawn here. And now it's asking me, what's the best move? Now, based on my understanding, I like the idea of bishop takes f7, and then after king takes f7, queen b3, and then the king has to move and we grab the bishop. Again, if I play the incorrect move, they will tell me that I'm incorrect and I made a mistake. So all I need to do here is just make another move. And since I made the incorrect move, it's basically telling me what to play. So it's basically the same idea with queen to b3, hit the bishop, hit f7, the bishop takes. Okay, this time we don't take with the bishop, we take with the queen. Oh, now we have this battery on g7. Don't tell me that the move here is g4. okay, it's not G4. It's just knight to F3. Let's just develop. Let's just develop normally. And let's just get our king out the center of the board. So nothing crazy. Our king is now castled. Our pieces are now developed. Now it's time to start our attack, get to work in the game. And this is basically what we're going for. So the ideas in the Danish gambit is get your pieces developed before the opponent. So that way you're able to start your attack. I already learned 4 out of 15 lines. Once I learn these lines, I'm going to go over them again just to ensure that everything sticks and the games are going to be easy, I'm assuming. So e4, d4, c3, bishop c4, bishop takes b2, bishop to b4 check was not played this time around. Knight to f6 was played based on what I've seen so far. Knight c3 is not the move. So let's go e5, chase away the knight. And this is a blunder. Yeah, this is a blunder because once we take the knight, they take our bishop. We could trade the queen, and that's just a fork, and we're winning the game. Yeah, this is completely winning takes, and now this is just a fork. We hit the they could check, but then taking here, and that's just a bishop. Now we just need to give a check, and we're doing fine. We already learned 5 lines. I'm gonna now speed run learning the rest of the lines, and then I'm gonna be playing some games against my subscribers.
While I learn these lines, I just have to tell you guys to check out chessreps.com. It is the best way to learn your openings. As you can see, I'm also getting stuff wrong, but the whole idea is to learn all the moves from chess reps so that way once you're playing your games, you get everything right. Let's jump into the subscriber games.
And we've learned all the lines. Main idea here is knight f6, pawn takes, and then once we take, we're now gonna win the rook on h8. All 15 lines of the Danish gambit learned. So now I'm gonna be trying the Danish gambit against some of my subscribers. Look on these games and let's see how they goes. So we're trying the Danish gambit. Let's go with e4. Very aggressive line, loads of trap. I just learned all the lines on chess reps. They take the first pawn. We don't take the queen out too early. We play c3, offering up another pawn. And once they take the pawn, we could take the knight, but we're trying to get quick development. So here I'm going to develop my bishop to c4, pointing towards the f7 pawn, gambiting yet another pawn. And then this is where it starts. Here I'm simply going to play the move, bishop takes b2. I want you guys to have a look on my king. Well, the opponent's king. We already spoke about this. After knight f6, he's trying to develop, he's trying to attack the pawn. The pawn. We just need to play e5, chase away the knight. Like the knight already has no squares to go. He has to go back to its home square. And then from here, the f7 pawn is significantly weak. So now we're going to hit him with the thematic queen to b3, targeting the f7 pawn. The question here is, how will, well, black plays knight to c6, didn't even guarding the pawn. So this is going to end very, very quickly. So the pawn on f7 is free. We're going to take on f7 with check. My opponent is 750 in rapid. By the way, the king now has to go to e7. And once the king goes to e7, I'm thinking of two things. Do I play bishop to a3, checking the king? Or do I, well, I have to play bishop to a3 because my bishop is already here. Now, if I check, he blocks, I takes, the pawn takes. Don't really gain much from this, so we're just going to be taking a free knight. Let's just take on g8. My queen guard the bishop, so it's already GG's. And as I say, your opponents will not expect you to be gambiting the pawns. They're going to be like, okay, he's crazy, he doesn't know what he's doing. But if you play the Danish gambit, you can checkmate your opponent in just 10 moves. I'm going to be playing more games with the Danish Gambit. Stick around. So another subscriber agreed to play the Danish Gambit against me. After e5, the whole idea here is to play d4. And once they take the pawn, we have no intention of taking the queen and bringing our queen out too early. That's not the idea. We want to play pawn to c3, offering them another pawn. And then once they take, yes, we could simply develop our knight. But we're going to develop our bishop, offering them another pawn. And I want you guys to look on this. Once he takes all these pawns, just have a look on my development. I'm 2 moves away from being in the middle game. My opponent decided to play pawn to f6. which is fair. He's trying to block out my bishop, but we already know that f6 is just a forbidden move and he should not play f6. There is no immediate way to punish him for doing this, so let's just develop the knight. The whole idea here is to castle my king. While I'm in the middle game, he's still gonna be getting his pieces out, and that's the whole idea of the Danish gambit. So he puts his knight on the edge of the board. Another mistake. Let me just get my king out the center of the board. And I want you guys to notice how my bishop already covers this diagonal, which means his king is already not going anywhere. So he plays bishop to d6. He wants to get castle, but castling is impossible. Now I'm trying to open the center as much as I possibly can. Again, I'm in the middle game playing chess. My opponent is still trying to get out of the opening. That's what happens if you play the Danish gambit, but it will cost you two pawns. Because the king is in the center and my king is out the center of the board, I'm going to hit him with pawn to e5, opening the center. And again, his king is not able to get castled because my bishop covers this diagonal. He took the pawn. Watch this. Look what happens once I take with my knight. Three very active pieces. My queen is ready to get access to this diagonal. My rook is ready to join the game. My knight is the only piece that is not doing anything. And in two moves, boom, boom, he could join the game. So he decided to play queen to f6. I see why he plays queen to f6, but this is already winning. Queen to h5 check. Now, after queen to h5 check, he will be forced to move his king because if he moves the pawn to g6, he will be losing the knight. So let's go queen to h5 check. I want you guys to notice the amount of pieces I have that is already developed. He has three pieces developed, but the knight is on the edge of the board. The queen is out a bit too early. His king is in the center of the board. The bishop is on d6, blocking out his d7 pawn. Everything is going bad for black here. So pawn to g6 was played. We spoke about this. Let's take the unprotected knight. And yes, it looks as if he's able to take my knight on e5, but I have something planned for that. If he takes my knight, I'm not going to immediately take his bishop because then I won't be able to pin his queen. I'm just going to start with the immediate rook to e1 and just immediately pin the bishop to the king. So he took with the bishop. Again, if we take queen take, rook to e1 is not good. So we're going to start by playing rook to e1, pinning the bishop to the king. And this is where it's GG's. Why? Because the bishop is pinned. And what do we do when a piece is pinned? We apply pressure to the pin piece. The queen is not able to take my pawn because pin pieces does not protect. If he uses his queen to take my queen takes his queen, and the bishop won't be able to take back. So he decided to move his queen to d6. And what is stopping me from taking that bishop? I'm also thinking of queen to g7. By the way, queen to g7 is a very nice move. It attacks the unprotected rook, and the bishop is not able to take. Now, if I take his bishop, what I'm seeing is he wants to play queen to c5, check my king, forcing my king to move, then take my bishop. With that being said, I'm not in any rush to take this bishop. It's pinned. Let's just play knight to a3, developing my bishop, my knight, and guarding my bishop. He decides to play pawn to b6, but now it's just over. So here's how I'm going to win this game. Let's just take. Keep in mind, I am attacking his queen, so his queen has to react to this move. I want you to notice how my bishop point towards the square. If I could get my queen to f7, move my pawn to e6, that would attack his rook. Queen to c5, we predicted this. Let's move the king to h1. My knight guarded my bishop, so I'm not going to be losing my bishop. Knight back to e7 was played, and yeah, it should definitely be GG's now because this is called a discovered attack that I'm about to hit him with. Pawn to e6. My bishop on b2 attacks his unprotected rook. This is a discovered attack. If he moves the rook, I'll be able to take on d7. My rook gets the open file. My a rook can also join in the attack. And again, my opponent is still in the opening. So he decided to play pawn to d6, didn't guard the rook, so let's just take the rook. This is what happens, when you play these aggressive openings. It will cost you two pawns, though, so you have to ensure that you're aggressive. He plays bishop to b7. Now he's trying to run away with his king. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the move bishop to f6, which means if he tries to castle his king on the queen side, He's just gonna lose the knight, and I am already ahead by 6 points. He castles the king. Let's just take the knight. And I mean, this is all I need from a position. He attacks my bishop. Let's just move the bishop all the way. I'm also going to be queening my pawn. This pawn could become a queen. I mean, he has a free knight that he needs to take. He didn't take the knight. He moves the queen here, threatening a little checkmate on g2. Let's just play rook to e2, guarding the mate. He didn't take the knight. I'm going to swing my other rook in the game. I'm going to push my pass pawn and queen the pawn, and we're ahead by 9 points. He moves his queen to a4. Now he's attacking my unprotected knight. The thing is, if I move my knight, it will leave my bishop unprotected. But here's what I'm going to do. I want you guys to notice how his queen and his rook is on the same diagonal. What I'm going to do in this position is I'm going to hit him with bishop to b5. This is called a fork. Yes, my knight is unprotected, but my knight guards the bishop. So once he takes my knight, I take his rook, simply move my bishop out the way, and as I told you guys, my e6 pawn will become a queen. Okay, he's just giving up at this point. I'm assuming this was a slip. So we're just gonna take the queen and take the rook on the next move. I assume that was a slip though, but the position was completely lost. Again, if you want to study this opening in more details, you can find it on chessreps.com. So he moves his bishop to d5. I guess he doesn't know where the resign button is. Let's just take the rook. This is gonna be checkmate in a few moves. He moves the king. Okay, he finally resigns.